In yesterday's episode, we discovered Rivet City, learned a little bit about its history, and took a tour of the ship. We participated in some of the petty politics of their city council, and now that we're involved with the place, it's about time we get to know many of the other residents. While exploring the marketplace, we bump into a man named Polly Cantelli.
Who are you? Got any psycho? I could really use a fix, but I'm broke. I run the chem shop, but I'm broke and can't buy chems.
You run the chem shop? Why don't you just take them from your shop?
My wife, Cindy, she's always watching the inventory. If I take any, she'll lock me out.
You know, you shouldn't take that stuff. It'll kill you.
That's what Cindy says too, but I got the itch. I need it bad.
All right, I gotta run, Polly.
Yeah, me too.
So Polly's got a bit of a chem addiction, and he hits up visitors to the town for free samples. I wonder if any of the other residents have something to say about this. To find out, we'll start by heading to the stairwell and going to the very bottom to open the door to the Muddy Rudder. This is Rivet City's dive bar, and here we almost always find Tammy Hargrave.
I'm Tammy. Have you seen my good-for-nothing son lately? The little shit is usually up to no good.
Whoa. Well, you know, some kids are just born bad.
You got that right. My James sure is. Sit down and buy me a drink.
There are no bad children, only bad parents.
What a load of crap. Obviously, you've never had to take care of some squealing little brat.
Well, no, I haven't seen him.
Figures. You should buy me a drink now.
You know, you don't have to be such a jerk.
Oh, really? My husband ran off and got himself killed and left me to raise his little brat. So don't you tell me how I should or shouldn't be.
The greater tragedy in all of this is that Tammy's husband likely didn't abandon her. We learned about him when we visited Andale. I did a video about Andale, which you should watch first. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna reveal a secret about that place. We learned from the residents there that at one time they kidnapped a victim from Rivet City who begged for his life, saying that he had a son.
You know, you're a breath of fresh air. Every time someone discovers our little secret, we have to hear about it. It's always, oh, how can you do this? Or, you're such terrible people. Or, please, not me. I have a kid in Rivet City. Well, I have kids, too.
Since Tammy's son is the only young boy at Rivet City, we can only conclude that the people here at Andale disposed of him. He didn't run away from Tammy. He was killed. Well, take care, Tammy.
Like I care. Unless you've got any more personal questions, I'm busy.
I think we found the winner of the Worst Mother Ever award. Heading downstairs, we see tables laid out with food and cutlery, and the owner of this bar is a lady by the name of Belle Bonnie.
I'm Belle Bonnie, and this is the Muddy Rudder. I'll tell you what I tell all the fresh meat. Don't start anything down here, or I'll have Brock kick your ass.
Brock, eh? Nice place you have here.
You must be drunk. Are you gonna order or what?
Is this swill even safe to drink?
Probably not. What do you have?
This place is a real dump.
Yeah, well, it's my dump, not yours. Either order a drink or get out.
Heard any good stories lately?
Go talk to Vera if you want gossip. I don't talk bad about folks.
You know, I bumped into Paulie earlier. Is he really addicted to chems?
Oh yeah, he's a mess. I'm glad I'm not in Cindy's shoes.
I'll have a drink.
What'll you have?
Belle is a typical bartender. She only has a few hundred caps for bartering and a small selection of booze, though she does sell a few stim packs. Later, Belle.
I'll be right here when you get thirsty.
She talked about some guy named Brock. If we turn to the northwest, and if we hide ourselves to not get caught, we can pick a very easy locked door. Though if we do so, we lose karma. Inside, we find a few locked containers with minor loot and caps, nothing interesting. And on the cot, we find a man named Brock sleeping. This must be the bouncer of the Muddy Rudder, or the guy who makes sure that things stay civil.
I'm Brock, the bouncer. I take care of the troublemakers. You aren't going to be a troublemaker, are you?
That depends. What kind of trouble?
Starting fights, breaking stuff, stealing? I think I'll keep a close eye on you.
Don't worry, I'm just here to drink and talk.
Let's keep it that way. Belle can mix almost anything as long as it's beer or whiskey. You need to raise your prices, Belle. You're practically giving this stuff away.
Don't tell me how to run my business, Brock. These prices have worked for 30 years, and they'll be fine for 30 more.
We learn from random citizen conversations that we can overhear that sometimes things get rowdy here.
Did you hear about the fight in the Muddy Rudder last night?
Yeah, Belle's gonna have to replace some tables and chairs.
I'm sure she'll just scrounge some from the lower deck.
Well, it sounds like Polly's chem problem is a well-established fact here on the ship. We'll head back to the marketplace to see if we can learn any more about it. Almost all of the people here have something to say about his addiction, but sadly their dialogue is exactly the same. We can talk with Seagrave Holmes about it.
He's totally strung out. It's going to kill him one of these days.
And we can head to the southwestern side of the marketplace to talk with another bartender working here, Gary Staley. While the Muddy Rudder is a dive bar, Gary's trying to market his place as a fine restaurant.
Let me introduce myself. I am Gary Staley, gourmet chef and gourmand. I'll be preparing your meal. My specialty is Meyerlurk cakes, although the iguana is very popular too.
Well, Gary, I am partial to Meyerlurk cakes myself.
Then you are in for a treat.
Meyerlurk gives me gas. I'd rather have squirrel.
Maybe you should sit in the corner. I can check to see if we have any squirrel, if you wish.
Hey, did you know that Paulie Cantelli is an addict?
Yeah, he comes by every night around closing time and tries to get Cindy to let him close up. Thank God she's smarter than that.
Hey, I'm hungry.
Here is our menu, ma'am.
He has one of the largest food inventories here at Rivet City, and yes, he does sell Meyerlurk cakes, as well as punga fruit from the Point Lookout DLC. I should let you get back to your customers, Gary.
Thank you for coming to Gary's Galley.
Near to the tables, we find Gary's waitress. This is his daughter, Angela.
Welcome to Gary's Galley. Can I take your order?
Why is this place called Gary's Galley?
It's named after my dad. He's a great cook.
I'd better get going, Angela.
Thank you for coming to Gary's Galley.
We can purchase food and drink from her as well, though she has the same inventory as her father. The Fallout 3 official strategy guide says that she's 16, and that her father, even though he loves her, neglects her because he spends too much time on his restaurant. She's also involved in another unmarked subplot, so we'll come back and talk with Angela in an upcoming episode. Here we also find Sherry wandering around. We only find her here if we rescued her from Dukov's place, an event which I showed off in my video, You Gotta Shoot Him in the Head, which you can watch here. She was forced to wear sexy nighties there, but we see that now that she's become a Rivet City resident, she's wearing more modest attire. Sadly, after rescuing her, she doesn't have much else to say. Nearby, we find a woman named Trini. She comes to the marketplace sometimes, but she loves to hang out at the Muddy Rudder.
Shit, just what this hole needs, another woman. Either buy me a drink or take your skanky ass somewhere else.
Yikes, she's a friendly one. Sorry, not interested. Get your own drinks.
Bitch! These guys won't buy me around. Just one, please.
All right, Trini, here you go. Here's 5 caps. Go ahead and pick your poison.
I guess you're okay. Thanks for the drink.
This conversation goes very differently if we have a male lone wanderer, and it's through that dialogue where she gives away what her likely profession is.
Hey, good looking. How come you haven't bought me a drink yet?
Sorry, not interested. Get your own drinks.
Tightwad? No, wait, I didn't mean that. Please, mister, just one drink?
Sure, here's 5 caps. Go ahead and pick your poison.
Now that's what I like in a man. Enough caps to buy a lady a drink.
What's it like living on a giant ship?
It's noisy, dark, and smelly. But we're safe here. No super mutants or raiders. And maybe Dr. Lee will find a way to get clean water for us.
I hate to do this, but I've gotta go.
You're lost, sugar. Come and see me again sometime.
Unlike with Nova at Megaton, we don't find an option to engage Trini in her professional services. I read that if we give her 5 caps enough times that we eventually give her 25 caps, that she'll take us aside and tell us the location of Belle's secret cap stash near to her bed inside the Muddy Rudder. But this cap stash only appears once Trini tells us about it. However, no matter how many times I gave her money, in my game for some reason, she never shared with me this information, so I wasn't able to replicate this. The Fallout 3 official strategy guide tells us more information about Trini. It tells us that she sleeps at the Muddy Rudder, not because she works there, but because Belle and Brock feel sorry for her.
Cut it
You've had
out.
too much, Trini. Go sleep it off in the back.
I'll say when I've had enough. You aren't my mother, Belle, so fuck off.
While at the Muddy Rudder, she will sometimes approach patrons to try and, quote, turn tricks for money. But she does that on her own. That's not part of the Muddy Rudder's business practices. She's constantly trying to get money to feed her addictions. She'll even sometimes proposition Brock, but Brock always turns her down.
What?
How come you never put the moves on me?
You're too young.
Back at the marketplace, we can finally talk with Polly's wife, Cindy Cantelli.
This is a quick fix. I mean, that's the name of our shop. Polly and mine, that is. My name is Cindy. Cindy Cantelli.
Whew, you sound like you've been sampling your own stuff.
No. I would never do that. Polly does. Sample it. I mean, he's my deadbeat husband.
Relax, I'm just looking around.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know if you want anything. To buy, that is.
So your husband is an addict?
He's hopeless. I have to keep him away from the shop, or he'll rob us blind. One of these days, he's going to end up dead.
What do you have for sale?
We've got all kinds of chems.
Cindy has a wide selection of chems for sale, as well as most alcohol. And interestingly, she has Ant Queen pheromones for sale. We'll go ahead and snag these, as they may come in handy later. It's time for me to leave, Cindy.
I'm sure you'll be back soon.
We often find Harkness walking around the marketplace. This is the guard who accosted us when we first arrived at Rivet City.
Is there a problem?
I hear you're one of the 3 members of the Rivet City Council.
Bannon and Dr. Lee and I all meet on Monday mornings to talk about citywide issues. It's pretty informal. The council doesn't have much real power.
What can you tell me about Dr. Lee?
She's one of the members of the council. Runs the science lab here. Don't bother her unless it's important. Her lab is in the stern end of the ship.
Why did you all decide to live on this rusty old tub?
We're the safest, most secure city in the Wasteland. Nothing can get in here without our say-so.
Did you know that Polly Cantelli is an addict?
He's totally strung out. It's gonna kill him one of these days.
Yeah, some of these guys have the exact same dialogue. Across the way from Cindy's shop is Flack and Shrapnel, the dedicated weapon merchants. We'll start by talking with Flack.
This here is Flack and Shrapnel's gun shop. Pretty catchy, huh? Take a look around. If you see anything you like, I'll be right over here.
Aren't you afraid someone will use your own guns to rob you?
Here, in Rivet City? I'm packing, and most of the rest of these guys are packing. Not to mention security.
This is quite a selection, but they're in lousy condition.
I don't put the good stuff out on the table. If you're interested, I can show you the stuff in the locker.
Did you know Polly Cantelli is an addict?
Yeah, he's totally strung out. It's gonna kill him one of these days.
Really? Is it really gonna kill him one of these days? I need you to repair my stuff.
No problem at all.
But sadly, like Bannon, he also only has 15 in repair.
Need to do some killing, eh?
He has almost 500 caps to barter with, and a wide selection of weapons, early, mid, and endgame weapons, including missile launchers and the Fat Man. He has a small selection of armor, but I did find some power armor on his inventory. But he's most useful as an ammunition merchant. His ammo inventory is much better than Seagrave's, and also includes missiles and mini-nukes.
If you need more ammo, this is where to get it.
Next to Flack is Shrapnel.
If you want a gun, you've come to the right place.
They call me Shrapnel. I run this place. Got the best damn armament you'll ever see.
Man, I love guns. Nothing's better than the kick of a 44.
Ain't seen many of those around lately. They're tough to come by.
Any fool can use a gun.
Said like a soon-to-be-dead Wastelander.
I need you to repair my stuff.
Let's have a look at it.
And like Flack, his repair skill is also only 15. I'm thinking of buying some ordnance.
What you looking for?
There's nothing new here. He and Flack share the same inventory. Moving towards the northeast, we finally run into James Hargrave. This is Tammy's son.
What do you want?
So where's your family, James?
My mom is probably drunk, and my dad's dead. Is that good enough for you, asshole?
You don't need to be scared, son.
I ain't scared, and I ain't your son. Any other stupid questions, asshole?
Do you know anything about Rivet City? How they made it? Anything?
It's a boat. A really big boat.
If we have the child at heart perk, we can say, I bet you aren't afraid of anything. Would you steal some ammo for me?
Of course I'm not afraid. I'll take it and he'll never know. I'll have it by tomorrow.
Gotta run. Stay out of trouble, James.
Whatever.
James runs off to steal ammo for us. We'll check in with him later. Heading up the steps and taking the catwalk towards the upper deck, we see the young couple emerge from the upper deck. The young couple are not merchants, but they do live and work on this ship. They are also the parents of one of only 2 children on the ship. Henry doesn't say much.
This place could use a few more people willing to work. Everything is falling apart. I'm the only one willing to fix it.
But his wife, Christy, will have a conversation.
Yeah?
Are you related to Henry?
Henry's my husband. I have a daughter, CJ, too. You'll see her running around here with James Hargrave.
What do the 2 of you do here all day?
We're the lucky ones. We don't have to fight just to survive. We have normal jobs. I clean the halls. It might not look like it, but you should have seen it before.
Thanks for your help, Christy.
Goodbye.
Apparently, Henry has a criminal past.
You're a petty criminal, but I'm willing to give you another chance. Don't disappoint me.
Heading into the upper deck, we can explore the Weatherly Hotel, which we find on the right. We often find a man hanging out here in the lobby named Sister.
They call me Sister. Don't ask.
But you're a man. Why do they call you Sister?
Are you making fun of my name? It's a damn good thing for you this place is crawling with security. Otherwise, I'd kick your ass.
Hey, I don't want any trouble.
Smart move. What did you want?
I've got some things to do.
So do I.
We'll have more to say to this charming individual later. Turning around, we see that the front desk is being operated by Mr. Handy Robot. Frustratingly, we can't talk to him from this side of the counter, so moving to the other side, we learn that his name is Mr. Buckingham.
Welcome to the Weatherly. Mr. Buckingham at your service.
Who's your owner, Rust Bucket?
I serve Miss Vera Weatherly, proprietor of the Weatherly Hotel. Not that it's any of your business.
I love that they sometimes include barely audible things with these robots. They did the same thing in the Nuka-Cola factory. What is this place?
This is the Weatherly Hotel. It's the finest establishment in Rivet City.
How much for a room?
The mere 120 caps.
Sounds like a fair price.
Excellent. Simply venture into the hallway, turn left, first door on your left. That is your room. Or is that the broom closet? I always get those 2 mixed up.
What do you have to eat?
Please place your order.
And here we find a third aid vendor on the ship. He sells more food than he does booze, but he does sell wild and refined punga fruit if we have the Point Lookout DLC installed. And he has almost 300 caps to barter with. That's all for now.
Yes, ma'am.
But we find the owner and proprietor of this hotel, Vera Weatherly, sitting down at her table.
Welcome back, ma'am.
Now, because Vera has a robot to do her work for her, we often find her wandering around. I exhausted her dialogue when I bumped into her in the marketplace.
Charmed to meet you. I'm Vera Weatherly of the Weatherly Hotel.
Hello, Vera. Have you heard any interesting gossip?
Well, I really shouldn't tell you, but have you heard about Polly Cantelli? He's addicted to chems. His poor wife Cindy is at her wit's end.
So, are there any other fun rumors flying around Rivet City?
You haven't heard? Angela has the hots for Diego. But since he's a priest, he's been putting her off. One of these days, she's just going to jump his bones.
Oh my. Have you heard any other rumors?
They say Mr. Lopez is losing it. He stands on the top of the bridge tower for hours at a time, just staring out over the city.
So what's the story with Dr. Lee?
She's not very social. Stays in her lab in the stern. She's smart, though. Real smart.
What's the deal with that little punk James Hargrave?
Poor James. His mother drinks too much. When she does, she doesn't treat him very well. Personally, I think she blames him for his father leaving her, which is ridiculous.
So long, Vera.
Farewell. Well, my metal friend, how are we doing today?
I am doing the task I have been programmed for. Currently, I am waiting for new orders.
Sometimes I hate working with robots.
The door in the back of the hotel lobby leads to Vera's private room, not to the other hotel rooms, as one might expect. However, if we pick it, we don't find a whole lot, just her bed and a few containers with minor loot. If we wait for the robot to turn his back, we can hack and access the very easy locked Weatherly terminal. Inside, we find 2 items. The first, Hotel Registry. Room 1, Zimmer and Guest. Room 2, Sister. So, Sister's a guest of the hotel and not a resident. I wonder why. And room 3, empty. Room 3 must be the room that we just rented. In the next one, shopping list. Need to get by next week. 13 mute fruit, check for mold, 9 iguanas on a stick, and 5 beers. Not much on her terminal, but perhaps if we explore the other hotel rooms, we can learn more. As we head down the hallway, we bump into James Hargrave.
What do you want, meanie?
Hey, did you ever steal any of that ammo from Flak and Shrapnel for me?
Sure. I pinched this from the table. You never even saw me. I can get you some more by tomorrow.
And he gives us some 44 Magnum rounds. Thanks, James. I gotta run. Stay out of trouble.
Whatever.
Now that we've met James, if we go back to his mother Tammy inside the Muddy Rudder, we can say, "Is that your son running around here?"
Yeah, that's James. My own little troublemaking brat. I'd sell him to you if they'd let me.
Good grief. Some mother. No wonder James acts the way he does. If we ever stumble upon them actually together at mealtime, we can overhear just how she treats her son.
Mom, do I have to eat this?
Shut your trap! You'll eat what I give you and be grateful for it, or I'll give you something to be really sorry for.
Poor kid. Well, at least we can make use of him to get some ammunition. Back on the upper deck, we find that the first door to the right when entering from the marketplace is our hotel room. We can effectively use this as a player home. However, none of the items we set out here are safe. The other residents of Rivet City can and will come in here to pick up and consume whatever they want. So really it's only useful as a bed. Right across from our room, we find 2 doors. To the left is Sister's hotel door. We lose karma by unlocking it. Inside, we don't find much, though we do find a holotape on the table, which is part of another quest that we'll save for later. Heading northwest down the hallway, we can unlock Dr. Zimmer's door. The terminal said that this was reserved for Dr. Zimmer and guest, but the guest is not listed. Inside, sure enough, we do find 2 cots, and Dr. Zimmer has a wide stash of foodstuffs, which gives us the impression that he may have been here for some time. Inside a locked footlocker, we find 39 energy cells and some shotgun shells. And in another footlocker, we find even more ammunition and caps. So Dr. Zimmer has come well prepared. Going back down the hallway to the northwest, we find Rivet City Clinic to the right. Here we find Dr. Preston.
You're in the Rivet City Clinic. I'm Dr. Preston.
As a doctor, he can heal our wounds, cure radiation sickness, and sell us medical supplies. He sells a lot of less addictive chems, with quite a store of stim packs. These are nice, Preston, but do you have any other chems? I could really use a fix.
You can get that crap down at a quick fix. It's in the market. I'm a doctor, not a dealer. I'll fix you as best I can if you're hurt.
This place looks pretty easy to rob. You have any problems with thieves?
Don't get any cute ideas. Security is just a shout away. Now, if you've got any medical issues, let's hear them.
Did you know that Paulie Cantelli is an addict?
He's totally strung out. It's going to kill him one of these days.
How useful. Thanks, Doc.
Take care of yourself.
Lying on a cot nearby is an unnamed patient who is unconscious. We can't interact with him. If we wait for the good doctor to turn around, we can hack his patient data system, which is locked with an average lock and will cost us karma. But inside we find some really interesting stuff. Rivet City Clinic computer system for doctor's eyes only. Unauthorized use will result in a fine, confinement, or possible banishment by order of the city council. In the first one, regional health hazards, apart from the standard dangers, Rivet City provides a few uncommon problems for long-term residents. Lockjaw, muscle spasms, especially of the jaw, from getting cuts on the rusty ship hull. Treat with penicillin when available. otherwise known as tetanus, a horrible disease that has a 10% fatality rate. The next one listed, however, is a completely fictional disease, at least in the real world: red lung, respiratory problems from regularly inhaling rust particles, particularly a problem for hangar deck residents and shut-ins. Treat with steam therapy and time outside to flush the system. And finally, fish poisoning. Less of a problem nowadays, but occasionally someone finds a fish in the river and is dumb enough to try to eat the thing. Radiation levels spike, and mercury poisoning drives most victims crazy. No cure, but at least people nearby get a reminder not to do it. I wonder why it's potentially lethal to eat the fish, but not Mirelurks. We even find a guy here in the ship selling Mirelurk cakes. In the next one, Patient Files, Bannon, still suffering from his social problem. Keep on penicillin and try to convince him to watch out in the future. Oh, I wonder where exactly he caught that. Brock. Another day, another broken nose. Rare to see him in as a patient, but at least the people he refers are still alive. Barely. Sounds like Brock, as the bouncer of the Muddy Rudder, does a good job. Polly Cantelli, treatment for the steady stream of his addictions would be a steady income, but I can't waste the resources on him if he's just going to get hooked again. So even the doctor has given up on him. Seagrave Holmes, chronic case of red lung from all his repairs below decks, prescribed a few hours of fresh air up top every night. Gary Staley, exhaustion. The man really needs to take a rest at some point, but then again, who doesn't? So the doctor recognizes that he works too much at his restaurant. Funny that his workaholic nature is mentioned both here and in the strategy guide, but his daughter, who suffers most from it, never mentions it. And then Trini, surprisingly healthy apart from the alcoholism and other chronic dangers of her line of work. Guess they grow them strong in lamplight. More confirmation that Trini works as a prostitute. And it's horrifying to learn that up until recently she was a young girl at Little Lamplight, to spend her childhood there, only to end up as a prostitute here. Well, in the Wasteland, I suppose there are worse fates. Directly across the hall from his clinic is his bedroom door. We can pick it at the cost of karma, but there's nothing interesting in here. No terminals to read, no holotapes, just a few minor containers. Heading out and going down the western hallway, the first door to the right leads to Flack and Shrapnel's room. Looks like they not only run a shop together, but share living quarters as well. Inside, we find more weapons than we find in the armory. A stash of automatic weapons and pistols on a table, a sledgehammer, and 3 ammo containers. Speaking of the armory, we explored it in yesterday's video, and I missed something. If you take greater care to explore the armory than I clearly did, you'll find the schematics for the rocket launcher. So thanks to the many viewers of the last episode who pointed this out to me. Heading out and going down the hallway, the first door to the left is the Young's door. Remember, this was the young couple who do repairs for the ship, and they have the young daughter CJ. Inside, we find James Hargrave again. Well, what's he doing here? Oh, that's right, he is one of only 2 children here, therefore CJ's only playmate. They must be really good friends. I suppose it makes sense that he makes himself at home here. We also see that their married room here is one of the largest in the entire ship. They share a double bed, plenty of containers and living space, and CJ's little room has lots of privacy on the other side of the room. She's got a toy box with toys and her own little cot. Speaking of CJ, we bump into her just as we leave the Young's room.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, miss.
She doesn't have a whole lot to say. She just likes to run around and play. Down the hall from here, we find Cantelli's door, and we see that he is sleeping in bed. His desk is covered in all sorts of chems, and getting closer, we see that his bed is as well. We can try to wake him up.
Want to do some buff out? Maybe a little psycho? Make it quick, will ya? I'm coming down and I gotta get my fix.
And if we want, we can say, here, have some psycho.
Thanks, man. I really need this fix.
But if we do, we lose karma. He doesn't consume it here. He leaves his room. If we follow him, we see that he walks to a nearby supply room. As soon as he enters, he shoots up. And then he dies. Oh no, we just made Cindy a widow. Well, I suppose we'd better head out and tell her the sad news, but as we do, we see young James Hargrave again.
What's your problem, Wadey?
And we find a new option. I've met your mother. No wonder you're such a brat.
What did you say about my mother? You take that back!
Hey, I didn't mean to upset you.
Go jump off the flight deck, asshole.
Your mother is a jerk, and you're a spoiled little punk.
Oh yeah? Well, you're an asshole.
Or we can pass a speech check to say, ooh, that hurt. Do us all a favor and just run away from home.
I'll show you. I'll show all of you. When I'm gone, my mom will really miss me.
And he does. But wait a minute. Oh, CJ was right behind him. And as soon as he runs out the ship, she bursts into tears. That's right, we just chased away her only friend. But then she leaves too. Racing into the stairwell after her, we see that she runs out to the drawbridge. Outside, we see that she's following James. If we follow them, we see that James leads her across the drawbridge, down the stairs, down the ramp, and out into the city infested with super mutants. They run past the nearby Anacostia Crossing metro station and then sit down at some chairs near to this table. This table right next to a dead Talon Company merc. There are 2 dead Talon Company mercs here. The other one was by the metro station. Here, James begins to weep, and CJ looks on worriedly. At least she's there to comfort her young friend. We can head back into Rivet City to see if their parents even miss them. Heading into the marketplace, we find Christy Young.
What do you need?
Why do you let that James Hargrave kid play with your daughter?
That poor child. His mother, Tammy Hargrave, is a very troubled woman. She spends too much time down in the Muddy Rudder, drinking and using foul language. I feel so sorry for him. I think CJ is a good influence on him, but I do worry about the 2 of them.
She doesn't seem to be aware yet that her daughter is missing. So waiting 24 hours, we can try again, but neither Christy nor Tammy have anything to say about their missing children. However, thankfully, Christy's husband Henry notices that she's gone.
This isn't a good time. My daughter CJ is missing. If you hear anything, please let me know right away.
He hands us a note. CJ Young is missing. CJ Young is missing. This might have something to do with my taunting James Hargrave. Yeah, it was my fault. Her father's not the only one who notices. If we talk with one of the guards, they mention that she's missing too.
Hey, you. Have you seen CJ Young? We have a report that she is missing.
I'm shocked that no one seems to be concerned about James. Well, not that shocked. Well, now we have to go and do something about this. Thankfully, we followed them when they left the ship, so we know exactly where they are. Strangely enough, both James and CJ have the same dialogue about running away. Instead of talking to James, we could talk to CJ.
Will you take me home, ma'am? I'm scared.
Sure, kid. Sorry I said those things. Let's get you home.
Thank you, ma'am. I promise to be good from now on.
This is strange because we never actually said anything to CJ, and CJ has always been good. She doesn't need to be good from now on. Or we could say, this is your mess, kid. Get yourself out of it.
You're just mean. I hope your mom and dad die.
In which case, CJ and James stay here forever, and we have lost our ability to bring them back to the ship. Or we can talk with James, and he has a similar dialogue tree.
I'm scared. Will you take me home? Take me to my mom?
Sure, kid. Sorry I said those things. Let's get you home.
Thanks, lady.
Interestingly, he doesn't promise to be good from here on out, but we still get karma by agreeing to take them home, and as we move away, we see that both of them begin to follow us. Heading back to Rivet City, we see that they follow us onto the drawbridge, but once we get inside, they disappear. After a brief moment, however, we gain karma. So that's 2 doses of karma we can get by agreeing to bring them home. I guess when we entered the marketplace, they must have entered through the stairwell. Strangely enough, even though Henry Young was the one who asked us to rescue his daughter, once we rescue her, he doesn't even mention it.
I'm busy. I've got a lot of repairs to make.
But his wife, Christy, who didn't even notice her daughter was missing, has unique dialogue.
Hey there.
Even more curious, the dialogue we get does not depict the events that happened. We can say, I found CJ, she was on the lower deck with James Hargrave, when instead we found them outside the ship altogether.
You brought her back to me. Thank you for saving my little girl.
But with that, we complete the quest. The next time we bump into James and CJ, their dialogue is back to the way it was. CJ doesn't really have much to say, and James is just as belligerent as he always was. And if we have the Child at Heart perk, we can continue to have him steal ammunition for us.
Sure. I pinched this from the table. You never even saw me. I can get you some more by tomorrow.
His mother, Tammy, however, has absolutely nothing to say about this entire drama. Nothing to say when her child is missing, and nothing to say when we find him. Also curious is that Polly's wife, Cindy, doesn't have anything to say if he dies. At least, not in my game. I read online that she expresses that she's actually happy that he's dead, saying that with Polly dead, she can finally make a profit. The Fallout 3 official strategy guide further elaborates, saying that after manning her chem shop for so long right next to Potomac Attire, she has begun to develop a bit of a crush on Bannon, who works directly next to her. This may explain why she has so little to say about the death of her own husband. Aside from the karma loss from giving him Psycho, there are no other ramifications for his death in the game. And with that, we're out of time. There is still much more to learn here in Rivet City. We'll pick up with episode 3 in tomorrow's video. What are your thoughts on poor little James Hargrave and CJ? What do you think of his mother, Tammy? And what do you think about the relationship between Cindy and her drugged out husband, Polly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I publish many new videos each week here on my channel, so if you want to make sure you don't miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I have a brand spanking new shirt in the shop. At least I have my Thump Thump. This was a fan request from viewers of my Caesar's Legion series. In that series, I had a whole lot of fun running around with my grenade rifle Thump Thump, and so I decided to put together this shirt all about it because I just loved it so much. You can find this shirt in a variety of both men's and women's sizes and in a wide array of colors. You can also find it on other products besides shirts, like smartphone cases, mugs, pillows, posters, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early with episode 3.